Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew.
And I'm Andrew Bellers.
A data scientist recently said, we can engineer the context around a particular behavior and force change that way. We are learning how to write the music, and then we just let the music make them dance. In other words, what we're told is something that we already knew. Social engineers are writing the music for the masses as a whole, and we are ignorantly dancing. The masses, we're being indoctrinated, and many do not know it. Manipulated, and they don't know it. Directed, and then people at whole in America and really around the world have no idea. Deception is running rampant. That is why Jesus in Matthew 24 said the very first thing out of his mouth when his disciples asked Jesus, what's the signs of the times of the end of the age before you're returning? Right? He said, watch out that no one deceives you. We are there. People are being deceived in the world. People are being deceived in the church. CNN posted an article. We're probably doing a show about it here in the next, relatively soon. Is that they actually published this, and they wrote these points down that the church looks more like Lady Gaga than Mike Pence. I thought to myself, we're there. We are, like you've said before, we're in the express lane to the apostate church.
We are.
That is where we are. And it's social engineering. It's social engineers that are orchestrating this thing, and the ultimate root of everything they're doing is inspiration from Satan himself. Truly, it's actually Satan himself looking to establish his kingdom here on earth.
And what I'm excited about for this show specifically, I mean, we've talked about some of this content before, but specifically about this is not speculation. I mean, we're not taking shots in the dark. This is not some unfounded conspiracy that, there's some greater power that's trying to control people's actions and thoughts and everything. We're going to be talking about an interview today specifically with a well-respected data scientist who says, listen, this is happening. This is absolutely happening.
A data scientist, and also we're going to be looking at a Harvard professor as well that is literally a professor of business administration at Harvard University. But we're going to be displaying today that we're dancing. We're dancing and we don't even know it. The songs have been orchestrated for us to dance into certain directions, and people are making billions of dollars from it, like Facebook, like Google. It's all orchestrated. You've heard of the terms autonomous self-driving cars, right? Well, the goal is to actually automate you and I, because once we're automated, once they can tell where we've been, where we are, and they can then project where we're going, billions of dollars are being made in a new term that's being coined as behavioral futures markets. They're going to make money off of predicting where you're going. You've heard of the term self-driving cars. They want you to become autonomous, which leads us to our very first article. The article is called, "The Goal is to Automate Us. Welcome to the Age of Surveillance Capitalism." So the article is about Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff. My goodness, with a name like that, you should be a professor at Harvard, okay? Shoshana Zuboff, and an interview she did concerning her new book, Surveillance Capitalism. That's what she titled it. We're going to break it down. Maybe that's not quite the best, probably not the best thing to title a book, because I don't agree necessarily with calling it capitalism. It is capitalism, but it's socialists that have truly hijacked the whole thing. So who is Shoshana Zuboff? She's a professor of business, of administration at Harvard. Now, in the past, she wrote a very popular book in 1988. It was a landmark book, 1988, and it was called The Age of the Smart Machine, The Future of Work and Power. So I respect her. I respect her accurate projections of things to come. 1988, she's talking about machine learning. It changed the way many people thought about the impact of computers on organizations and at work. Landmark book, truly, it was a good book. Now, what has she been doing since then is a question. After 1988, she wrote the book. She continues, doing her stuff at Harvard. But as far as in the published world, she kind of goes off the map. She kind of disappears. And then she reemerges by a couple of explosive articles that were published starting in 2015. In 2015, it was actually in one academic journal. And then in 2016, another one was published in a German newspaper. She kind of goes off the published arena, right, from 1988. Now, what they revealed was that she had come up with a new way to look at major tech entities like Google, like Facebook, and others similar to them. And it says that nothing less than spun a new variant of capitalism. Those essays promised a more comprehensive expansion of this big idea. So she wrote a new book recently. It's called Surveillance Capitalism. And I really appreciate her take on all of this. We're going to talk about this now. So what exactly is surveillance capitalism? I'm going to read it for you. It works by providing free services. This is how they make us dance. It works by providing free services that billions of people cheerfully use, enabling the providers of those services to monitor the behavior of those users in astonishing detail, often without their explicit consent. We're involved in this right now. Like, we are a part of this. As she puts it herself, surveillance capitalism, she wrote, unilaterally claims human experience as free, raw material for a translation into behavioral data. Although some of these data are applied to service improvement, the rest are simply declared as a proprietary behavioral surplus, fed into advanced manufacturing processes known as machine learning, and fabricated into prediction products that anticipate what you will do now. They're anticipating it, what you'll do soon, and what you'll do much later in the future. Finally, these prediction products are traded. They're traded in a new kind of marketplace that I call, she's speaking here, behavioral futures markets. Betting. I mean, it's an educated guess. It's taking data and betting on, the futures market with corn or soybeans or oil, how the futures market work. I'm sure you're familiar. Surveillance capitalists have grown immensely wealthy from these trading operations. For many companies are willing to lay bets on our future data.
And this isn't a completely new idea, especially to anyone who watches this show. I mean, the idea that there are people who are trading our information is not new. And I feel like there's a pushback on these kinds of predictions as far as what's going to happen with our information. Because it's like, well, that could never happen. I mean, how legal is it really? The problem is that the early development of Google and Facebook they took place in very uncertain waters, and there really are no laws against what's happening. And
Think about it like this: they were established in lawlessness. Now, you think lawlessness? Oh, wild, crazy! Like they're just doing everything. No. What I'm saying by lawlessness is that there was no laws because they had entered into a new digital territory that no man had ever gone before, where there wasn't law. So they're literally making up the laws for themselves. Which who did it benefit? Themselves.
Exactly. And I want to read just a quote from Shoshana in her interview that basically just says that. It's talking about, says this entire project, which is the project of Google, was conducted in what was effectively lawless, what you just said, law-free territory. So it says, thus Google decided that it would digitize and store every book ever printed, regardless of copyright issues, or that it would photograph every street and house on the planet without asking anyone's permission. Facebook launched its infamous beacons, which reported a user's online activities and published them to others' news feeds without the knowledge of the user. I mean, they have taken so many liberties with our privacy and with our information and did not once consider, should we do this? Is this legal? Is it okay to do this?
I should have printed off a copy. I read it a couple of years ago of everything that is known by Google, Facebook, Amazon, UPS, your cable box. The amount of data that the digital world has on you, if you actually saw it before, and I need to print this up and bring it in, I'm telling you, you have a digital ghost, and that's probably not the right word, but you have a digital ghost. I mean, you have a digital imprint that literally looks just like you. And whenever you die, your digital imprint's not going to go anywhere. Have you ever thought about it like this? It's like, ask someone, do you know your great-granddad? Yeah, I know my great-grandfather. I know his. Or let's you know your grandpa? Yep, know your grandpa. I know my grandpa well. My grandpa's name was, on my dad's side was Larry Drew. All right. Well, then what about your great grandpa, Zach? Well, it was Grandpa Drew, right? Well, what about your great grandpa? I don't really know. Yeah. He was a Drew, right? If you go just like on the same track. I don't really know. That's and usually it's to the great. Can you imagine, never having to deal with that ever again? I mean, think about it like this. If the Lord tarries, which I don't necessarily believe that he will this long, but if he tarried 500 years, no one's going to ever be wondering what great Andrew Bellers was like. Right. Because his digital imprint will still be there. It'll live on much longer than your mortal flesh and body will. Because they know who you are, what your name is, where you live, where you have lived, where you go, location, all these location apps, location, they'll know where you are at all times. They know your religious preferences, they know your credit card numbers, they know the books you read, they know the shows you watch, they know your digital thoughts, your digital feelings, your digital projections of where everything that was going to happen within you. They knew it before it was even going to happen. So they have a digital imprint of you because it's all about data. Data truly is the new oil. I've said it before. You see, here's a line for you. They are mining humans like coal. Data is the new coal. Data is the new oil. Humans and their digital experiences, their thoughts and feelings, our behavioral patterns. Humans are now the greatest natural resource on Earth. The data that's gathered by the Frightful Five, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. And just so you know, it's the Frightful Five, but if you look at the branches, right, it's these guys, but they own, Google owns YouTube, and they own many different other things as well. It's all about oil, or it's all about data. Data. I've said this before, and just to really illustrate this point, for example, your Roomba, your cool little robot vacuum that saves you all the time in the world, it was actually the man behind the invention of Roomba. The new Roombas, Roombas all together, but the new Roomba, look at this. We need a new desk, people. This is why you give on a monthly basis. I don't even know how to fix this, Andrew. I honestly don't even know how to. Hey, there we go. Just slam it back down.
Thank the Lord.
Hey, listen, if you would like to donate on a monthly basis, we could use your help, okay? We need a new desk, we need a camera. And let me tell you right now that there's a couple of people, I'm not going to give their first, I'm not even going to give their names, but there's a couple of couples that have really got behind us, and we're actually creating an at-home studio as well. At my home, not his. Right. And we're going to get a camera, we're going to get a teleprompter, we're going to get a tripod, so we can start making more videos throughout the week and just uploading them straight to YouTube on breaking subjects. So listen, just this thing about standing with us, we really do need help. There's a few people that give on a monthly basis, but we really need that number to go up, honestly, 100-fold to really get us to where we need to go. He needs to quit his job and work for IGBY, which stands for I go before you, a promise that God gave Joshua in Deuteronomy 31. He needs to quit his job and work full-time for IGBY. The amount of content that we'll be able to produce will be astonishing. Get behind us. Okay, so that was I didn't mean for that to happen, but the Lord must have wanted it to happen. So your Roomba the creator behind Roomba, he basically said in layman's terms that Roomba, your vacuum, is posing as a vacuum. It's really a data collecting machine. Because where they make their money is the new Roombas, they map out your home. So you don't program the Roombas to well, there's your couch, there's your lamp. No, it programs itself. So whenever it hits the couch, it knows, well, there's an object here. So the next time around, it doesn't hit the couch, it goes around the couch and it maps out your home. It's literally getting the blueprints of your home. And then Roomba is selling your data of what your living room is like to the likes of Amazon. So Amazon knows how to market you. It's strategic ads placed for you because they know where you put your couch, where you put your lamp, or where maybe based on thousands of different blueprints of your home, sketches of your living room, most people put a lamp right there, but you don't have a lamp right there. So I'm going to start targeting your feeds where you need a lamp right there because you don't have. It's data collecting machines. They're posing by other means, and that's where the money is the data.
And this might be slightly off topic, and we'll come back, full circle. But the reason that this is even possible is because there's a great understanding. I mean, even in the natural, you don't have to have a spiritual understanding to know that Americans in our culture, we value comfort and convenience above everything else.
Yeah.
And especially in the church, and we have given ourselves over to the desire to be comfortable, to be satisfied. I mean, everything has become about the security of people we love, our own security, and about what feels good in the moment. And the world is marketing off of us. I mean, we are willfully giving private information, important information that is vital. And we're just giving it up willingly because we worship this comfort, we worship convenience, and it's becoming a huge problem.
Mm-hmm. So let's keep going with this. 10 minutes left. Okay, thank you, Ricky. Ricky is one of the guys that help us out around here. He's a major blessing. I was at a conference once. It was actually in Las Vegas. Not a great number of people at the conference. Extremely expensive to get into, and I'm listening to, it was an executive for one of the major American car-making companies, and she said while she was on stage that their new smart vehicles, their new autonomous vehicles, I should say, that are being designed and will be unveiled here really in this next couple of years because nearly $1 billion is being invested into it. Their cars are going to have somewhere around 11 sensors on it, all around the vehicle and within the vehicle, literally collecting all the data from around them, from the weather to the cars to what's going on around the car, what's going on way around the car, what's going on within the car, collecting data on you, your kids, collecting data on everything around you. And it's going to collect somewhere around 2 gigabytes of data every couple of minutes. All right? If you know anything, like that's incredible. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, it's collecting data on everything. And then they're selling the data. And the shocking thing was that this executive said that they will make more. Think about buying a new Tahoe, right? Let's say you're buying a new Tahoe. Okay, you're spending, my goodness, they're about $70,000, $75,000 today. Or let's say I'm not saying it's Chevy, okay? But I'm just giving an example here. You're buying a new $70,000, $75,000 extended Suburban, new Tahoe. That's a lot of money. That's a great deal of money. Well, she said that they will make more money selling the data that the smart car collects over the course of time of of the vehicle's life than they will even selling the car. So if you buy a Tahoe for $70,000, they will make more money off of you selling the data it collects than $70,000 over the lifetime of that car. That's astonishing. You see, we're in a new age where people are making billions of dollars off of your data. Another example was Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. If he would have gotten his way, which he ultimately will once the king dies, and he is an older man, so Mohammed bin Salman will get his way eventually. Well, he was wanting to take Aramco, and make it public. All their oil, he wanted to make it public and sell it. He wanted to sell it for about the first, initial public offering was going to be 10%, which he valued at $100 billion, which means for the full 100% would be $2 trillion. So, and he wanted to take that $2 trillion, put some into the PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, right? And he wanted to spend the vast, vast majority of all of that money on IoT. The Internet of Things, everything from artificial intelligence to the global singularity to drones to to anything IoT is what he was wanting to invest in. But you've got to understand what this means, because this should be something that just screams at you. Saudi Arabia, who's made its trillions of dollars by oil, it's a desert. It's made no money from basically anything else. It's oil. Oil is what has made Saudi Arabia Saudi Arabia, and they want to leave it. They want to get out of oil to invest into IoT, the Internet of Things. And you don't sell something that gives you a continual yearly, annual revenue, just money coming back to you every year, oil, money, and then just sell it for a bulk price, well, what happens when the $2 trillion is gone? You see, they're thinking, what is the new oil? What can I invest in to get ahead of the game, other countries, so that I can continue making money on a yearly basis, and it is IoT. It's a collecting of data.
Yeah, so it's necessary to understand how lucrative this is because of this point. Another quote from Shoshana that says, demanding privacy from surveillance capitalists or lobbying for an end to commercial surveillance on the internet would be akin to asking old Henry Ford to start making each Model T by hand. It says these demands to say, we want privacy back. We want you to delete our data. We don't want you to have all this information on us. These demands are existential threats that violate the basic mechanisms of the entity's survival. And it's because it's so lucrative, and it essentially this is progress. This is the only progress. This is the only way to go. If they don't go this way of surveillance, then they die as corporations.
So you're saying, hey, Google, stop collecting our data and selling it. Hey, Facebook, stop collecting our data and selling it. They can't say okay, because you're saying that if they said okay, it's an issue of existence for them. They will cease to exist.
It's like, okay, we'll go out of business then.
Exactly. Wow. So exactly what's collecting, data? Shoshana Zuboff, she said nearly every product or service that begins with the word smart or personalized, every internet-enabled device, every digital assistant is simply a supply chain interface for the unobstructed flow of behavioral data on its way to predicting our futures in a surveillance economy. Wow. I read Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals. He was, I wanted to know what the goals of the left really were. And he separated everybody into the haves and the have-nots, and then the have-a-littles, but one a little mores, okay? So it's really the have and the have-nots, and you might have a little more. Well, this new age is creating a new different type of category of people. The combination of state surveillance and its capitalistic counterparts means that digital technology is separating the citizens in all societies into two groups. See, it's not the have and the have-nots anymore. It's the watchers and the watched. The watchers, invisible, unknown, and unaccountable, and the watched. You see, this is what's happening right now. Social engineers, they're watching us. They're making so much money off of us, and it's like, there's a term that a lot of millennials like to use. It's typically, to stereotype it, it's millennials that, have a new age bent, like to smoke pot and go to music festivals, and it's a term called woke, right? Stay woke, man. Get woke. Well, I would like to think that as Christians, we can be woke, okay? That doesn't mean get in a new age, smoke pot, and go to music festivals.
Yeah, no, please don't do that.
Don't do that. That means the Holy Spirit woke, means being awoke, understanding what's really going on, behind the scenes. And these groups are usually they're anti-government. They don't trust the government. They're conspiracy theorists. But let me tell you, as you and I, as Christians, the Holy Spirit within us wakes us. I believe that you and I are woke, as the term is. Deception is everywhere. And the Holy Spirit has got to lead us into all truth. That's what's happening right now. I feel like we're trying to be out here exposing what's in the darkness. But here's the final thing I want to talk about. The question is, Andrew, where does surveillance capitalism, and let me tell you, so capitalism, that's such a ridiculous thing to say, because yes, Google and Facebook, they're using the capitalism, the model for making money, but at heart they're all socialists, right? So where does this go from here?
Well, we've hinted at this. We hinted at this at the start of the show, but going back to this interview with Shoshana Zuboff, it says surveillance capitalism moves from a focus on individual users which is what we've mostly been focusing on.
Future markets on the individual.
Exactly. They're shifting it to a focus on populations, like cities, and eventually on society as a whole. It says, think of the capital that can be attracted to futures markets in which population predictions evolve to approximate certainty. So they're moving from the idea of focusing on one person to exactly what we've been saying, this greater, I guess if you could use the word conspiracy, that they want to control the entire society.
That's so crazy. I mean, that's a very ominous statement that she made. Right now, we are controlling. They are controlling the individual based on the data they're collecting. But the goal is to not just to make the individual dance, is to make a population dance. And once it's from a population dancing, it's a society and a culture at large. This is all this is doing. This is setting us up for the Antichrist system. Let me tell you right now that we're actually going to stay in the studio because this actually, it continues into something else, because monitoring often starts in the digital place and then, or starts in the physical place and then moves to the digital place. And the Frightful Five, they're in a relationship right now with government, and so, but they're going to become married to government within our lifetime. To where, in the same way data is collected from us, from these tech titans, it'll be state mandated that we all have to be monitored one day. And I'm going to be discussing on this next show. Like I said, we're going to stay in the studio. We have another half-hour show that'll be aired next week. We're going to be discussing how Oregon could become the first state to require in-home surveillance of newborn babies. Essentially, the state of Oregon is saying that your child belongs to us, and apart from a state-appointed agent, well, you really can't parent successfully. And that is where it begins. They're getting their foot in the door. They're going to get you used to it, make you feel safe, make you feel comfortable, make you feel like you have confidence in this system. And then whenever 5G gets here, it really is going to be constant monitoring of everything within your home for your benefit, So this is where we're going, and it's going to be, all of this was kind of setting us up for what we're going to be talking about in the next show, because it is some startling information that you're not going to want to miss. We have about 1 minute left of the program today. I just want to encourage you, if you're watching today, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're really trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. We're well over 600 subscribers now. So just go to Zach Drew Show on YouTube and click the bright red subscribe button. As soon as you do that, there's going to be a little bell to the right that pops up. Make sure you click that little bell, because that will notify you whenever we do a new video. Andrew, is there anything else you want to say for today's program?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, well listen, get behind us. A lot of new things are happening. I don't know exactly when. I told the audience a few weeks ago that we have been having a new backdrop that's being created for us here at this set, not at the home studio. I just got word this week that it is finished. It is done. So now we have to work on the process of actually getting it here, because it's going to take a big truck to get it here. And we actually have someone that's in the studio right now that works for the company, and they're taking measurements of everything behind us, making sure everything will fit just nicely. So a lot of new things is happening. A lot of new things are happening here at the ministry. And just please pray about standing behind us in a financial way. Hey, we love you guys. Make sure you stay tuned in to next week's program. We'll see you.